Hey guys, Grant here from ROCKWORKX. Today I'm here to show you the new multi-tool that we've come up with. I'm an avid camper. I spend a lot of time outdoors, love taking the kids camping. I get really frustrated when I forget tools behind or just simply don't have enough space to take everything with us. So what I decided to do was design something that we have everything that you might want for basic camping setup, right? So little things like the shovel, T5 hardened aluminum. You can use it to dig holes. The kids can use it down on the beach or anything like that. California, we have a lot of really hard soil here. So if the shovel's too large for digging in hard soil, we have the axe head, which converts to a hoe, so you can actually dig trenches or dig in really hard soil. We have the hammer. This has a 3-way telescoping pole, so you could actually extend it all the way out. Like I say, this is a full-size tool. It's not one of those half-size multi-tools that you get. So what I would like to do is walk you through all the features that we have built into this, and I'll put a timestamp below. So if there's a specific feature you want to look at, you can definitely jump to that timestamp, jump ahead. There are a lot of details in this. There's a lot of engineering has gone into this, so I'd love to show you all of that. And the intent is to help you understand exactly how it works. So from the time you get it out of the box to using it all, we're going to try get it all into this video. So if there's anything that I don't cover that you'd love to hear about, let me know in the comments below and we'll take it from here. So as I mentioned before, this is designed to fit in the 2-inch hitch receiver of any vehicle. Simply pull this pin out, remove the pin. This guy slides straight into it, right? Straight in. Now there are 2 positions. Position 1, this is if you want a slightly longer reach, right? Pull it out. There's a second position if you want it tighter in. On my one, it sits under the Jeep tire. I want it a little tighter in, so you can bring it in a little tighter if you like. We will also be coming out with, this is a 1/2-inch pin. If you do want to lock your toe-hitch step into the receiver, you can purchase the 1/2-inch locks. Make sure it's the 1/2-inch lock, not the larger one. I think they sometimes come in sets of 2, so you get 2 different sizes. We do have our own version coming pretty soon. Like I say, just make sure it's the 1/2-inch pin. Okay, so when you first take it out the box, what you will find is the main thing to notice is this nut can be tightened with a custom tool. So if you take a look at this nut, you've got these notches in here. When you first release the locking pin, pull out your receiver. Now also note there are actually 2 holes, so 2 positions for your multi-tool. So if you want it further out, you'd use that. If you want it closer in, you'd use this position here, right? The hammer head screws off, so this actually what helps it lock in and keeps it more stable. So once you remove the hammer head, you'll see here, you've got these 2 pin style custom tools. What this allows you to do, it allows you to tighten and loosen this bolt. This is critical when you're first using, especially when you got it in the back of your vehicle. You want to tighten this nice and tight so it does not vibrate loose over time. If it does vibrate loose, this will flap around, and it won't come off, but you will be able to really, like I say, snug that down and make sure this does not vibrate. Also, when you're using some of the features like your shovel or your axe, you want to tighten this up nice and tight. Okay, so like I say, first thing, loosen this out. Once you loosen it far enough out, this first head will pivot all the way open, right? Now what you have, this is the first position. So you have your axe in there, everything's here. So this is your first shovel position. The handles are on the inside here. Now these aren't automatically telescoping, they're actually screwed in. So what you have to do, unscrew the first handle. This slides out. You will notice that these have rubber gaskets on them. This helps with just locking it nice and tight, and when you're using them in certain positions, it doesn't come loose as easily. So if I loosen these, now you see I have my telescoping tubes. Right, these screw in together, so smallest tube, mid-sized tube here, screws in here. Now you have your full-size shovel, right? Now you can use the shovel with the axe in place, or you can remove the axe if you like, right? That's the axe head, and that's the next feature that I'll walk you through and show you how to use it. Okay, so now I've shown you the shovel portion. I'm going to walk you through how the next one is, which is the axe. And like I said, if you go ahead, if you want to get into the habit of using this tool to tighten that nut down, it simply locks into one of these positions, tightens, right? If you reverse, you just simply go the opposite direction. So you loosen it, right? Once you loosen this guy, you've got one securing pin. You can pull this pin, right? And now what happens? The pin always stays locked to the shovel head, so you will not lose that. We've designed this so it's just really difficult to lose parts. I mean, you may do, and we will have a spares parts list available, but you shouldn't have to lose anything because everything's pretty well secured to each other. So, first thing to release the axe, you will notice in here, there's a little pin there, there's a pin on either side. Those are stainless steel pins, so they should not corrode. What you want to do, one hand, push on both sides of those pins, pick up your axe head, and pull it off, right? So now you have your axe head separated from the shovel head, right? And this axe head can be used in the standard axe head position or at a 90 degrees. So it's actually an Adze Ax or a hoe, which you can use for trench digging and that kind of thing. Okay, the next item, we have the log splitter. This is a built-in log splitter. It gets used for two things. The first item is when using it in the axe position. So let me walk you through the axe position. We have the locking pin here. You push on one side, this pin will pull out, but it will not fall out. Now there is one feature where you do want to pull this pin out exactly. You pull it all the way out, and that's when you're doing the Adze Ax. What you need to do is you have to rotate this pin, and you will see these alignment marks. There's an alignment mark there and the pin there. Once you line it up, this pin will actually come all the way out, right? So it's designed so it does not easily fall out, but you can take it out when it's needed, right? So when you're using standard axe position, see now it's back in, it won't come out. Now if you want to do standard axe position, what you want to do, that's the hole that the pin goes through. You want to make sure this hole is aligned with these guys, right? Slide it in, line it up. Once it's in, you can push the pin back through. Now the slide's back on, and what you'll see, it's designed so that from the top down, the axe starts splitting the wood. This acts as a further log splitter, but it also avoids the log from hitting any of these items to stop them from damaging it. So now you have a standard size axe. You take your tool, tighten this down, and that's your first size axe. Now, if you really wanted to, you could extend the handle a lot. Now keep in mind, this is not a full stump splitter. If you apply too much leverage, you might have some issues, but you can extend the handle if you need a little bit more reach. I wouldn't suggest using the third tube, even though it could go in there. I wouldn't suggest using it that way. So there you have the standard camping axe. So now I'm going to walk you through using the hoe or Adze Ax. What that's used for is if you want to chop sideways, or especially in California where I have that really hard sand, you need to dig a little, and the shovel head's probably going to be a little bit too big for that. Shovel head's really for softer sand, beach sand, that kind of thing, right? If you need something to really get through that hard sand, then you may use this feature. What you're going to need to do is you pull this pin. We are going to have to release this pin completely for this function. You want to turn that line to match that notch in the top. Now your pin is going to come all the way out. You do need to completely remove the pin for this feature. You want to line this up so it's directly perpendicular to these holes, right? And what's going to happen, these two little notches on the inside, these two little pins, these two extensions are going to go into those notches, and this really gives the head it's security, right? So you slide this down, all the way down, and you'll see it stops at this bottom pin. Once you have that in place, you're going to want to take your locking pin, and you'll see there's a notch at the bottom. That notch, you'll see it lines up with that axe head, right? So that just allows it to slide back in. Once you have that in, align these guys up, tighten down, right? Again, you'll go in and use your hammerhead to go in and tighten it nice and tightly. Now you have your Adze Ax or hoe. With this one, go ahead and add your extensions. Your extension 1. If you need longer reach, you go in and add your second extension, right? So there you have your trench digger, Adze Ax, sideways chopping axe in a full extension. So the hammerhead does have metric and imperial tools built into it. So if you have an emergency, you need to take a bolt of a bicycle or something, there is 12 imperial and 13 metric tool sizes in here, as well as the custom tool. Like I said, this is for tightening the bolt. We do have a nail puller built back in here, right? So if you need to take apart pallets or something like that, you have that. And then we have the hammerhead, right? So when you're using the hammer, pretty straightforward. Just take your smallest tube, screw it in, right? So now you got that all the way in. You can use it as a standard hammer, right? Now you can use it this way if you want to pry some nails or something. If for some reason you want it the other direction, you can always flip it over. We have the same notch on the other side, threaded notch. You can actually flip it over. So if for some reason, maybe you want to chip some ice or something like that, you can definitely use that this way, right? If you do for some reason need a larger handle, this does actually also work with the size handle up. This will be sideways, so you have your third handle here. So if you do have a larger grip and you do for some reason just prefer the larger handle, go ahead and use this one. The next feature is the camping stool, which is quite a handy thing, especially if you're out fishing around the lake and there's wet sand, wet mud around, and you really just want to sit down, there's nothing to sit on. This does convert into a stool. So what you would do from this initial starting position, you would loosen this, you would see the notch. That notch is at just off 90 degrees, right? So now we're going to have, you see how that's tightened down there? You see the angle kind of off 90 degrees, right? That's the first piece. Second part, you want to take your hammer, right? You want to take the smallest pole, put it in this first hole, so it is on the face down position, right? This notch down. Take the second tube, slide it in. Do not tighten them all the way down, right? Just keep them slightly loose for now. That is the base of your stool, right? Now this guy comes and slides down into it, right? That's the seat of your stool. Once those are in, now you can go ahead and tighten these, which are going to make this stool nice and secure. So then when you put that down, now you have your camping stool. Okay, as you can see, there's your little camping stool. We have tested it up to about 220 pounds. Sit down there quite comfortably. It's decent size. Now it's meant for sitting. It's not meant for standing. If you're 220 plus, I wouldn't stand on this, but it's definitely going to take your weight sitting down.